Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been about maybe almost 3 weeks since the last time I posted a video, but as you can see, I have been very busy. I did have my baby. I had her 2 weeks and 5 days ago. She's 2 weeks and 5 days as of today. And it was definitely an experience. I have been so busy just taking care of her and going to the doctors and just figuring out, like, you know, motherhood for the first time. And I think it's been going really well. I mean, there are, like, you know, little struggles that I've been dealing with, but nothing like really bad that I can't get through on my own. So but here she is. She is so cute, my little baby girl. This is mommy's girl. Mommy's girl. Yeah, so I actually had her early. I was actually due, my original due date was 2 days ago, which is September 9th. I actually gave birth to her August 23rd. And I don't know why, I just always knew that I was gonna have her early. I just had a feeling that she was gonna come early, and I honestly hoped that she would come early, and I'm so happy that she did, because I just struggled with the pregnancy, like not struggled like health-wise, but just for myself. Like, I don't know, I just did not take pregnancy well. Like, any little thing bothered me. Honestly, I was just done. I was done being pregnant, and I wanted her to come out. And I think she knew that, so that's why she came early. So in today's video, I just wanted to talk about my experience with the labor and delivery, especially during COVID. It was definitely not what I expected. It was kind of hard with some things. So I'm going to talk about that in the video and let you guys know my experience and how everything went. So that is what we're going to be talking about. Hopefully, she just drank milk and she's pretty calm. I changed her diaper and everything, so she's watching TV up there. Okay, so I guess I'll start with the night that I started having contractions. So I was actually at my aunt's house for my uncle's birthday that day. And the entire day, even until the nighttime, like, I was perfectly fine. I didn't feel any different. I didn't have any signs that, you know, I was gonna go into labor or anything. Everything was pretty much normal. And then, let's see, we got home around like 11 o'clock at night. And then I fell asleep, and around 1 o'clock, I woke up because I started feeling like pains in my stomach. So around 1 o'clock, I woke up because I started feeling pains in my stomach, and I thought it was nothing because, like I said, I was only 37 weeks at that time. So I'm like, oh, it's probably nothing. Like, I'm pregnant, I'm gonna be feeling all these different things, especially since I'm getting closer to having her. So I tried to just sleep it off, but then they kept coming, and then they were pretty painful. So I decided to get up out of bed, and Mike was still awake. He was playing games. So I told him, I was like, hey, like, I'm having really bad pains and I feel like they might be contractions. So we started timing them, and then I had them for like an hour straight. And so I was like, okay, these are really like contractions. So I wasn't gonna go straight to the hospital because I know you have to have contractions for like a few hours. So I was like, there's not even any point of going right now because they're just gonna send me home. So we waited like another 2 hours, and I was still having them like consistently. So then I called my mom. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. I called my mom and I was like, hey, you know, I'm having contractions. And so she came over with my sister, and we were here for maybe about an hour. And around 4 o'clock, we decided to go ahead and just go to the hospital, because at that point I had already been having contractions for about 4 hours. And so I was like, all right, let's just go, because they were pretty mild contractions, but they were still pretty painful. So 4 o'clock came around. We went to the hospital. I got checked in, and I was sitting there, like, I get inside to the labor and delivery, you know, section of the hospital, and they had me sit down and wait, and I had to fill out paperwork. And the entire time I'm sitting there, there's a girl next to me. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning. There's a girl next to me, like, waiting. And I'm sitting there, like, having these contractions, and, like, I'm trying to fill out this paperwork, and this girl's just staring at me like, oh my God. While I'm, like, getting ready to have a baby, she's, like, barely showing. And so I'm, like, sitting there like, oh. And she's just staring at me. And luckily, they came pretty fast. The nurse came pretty fast to take me to the back. So they take me to the back to a room, which is not a labor and delivery room. They took me to a different room. They didn't allow Mike to go back with me because they said he won't be able to go back there until I actually get admitted. I wasn't actually admitted to the hospital because they needed to see, like, how far my contractions were, how far dilated I was. So Mike had to wait in the waiting room out front. And they took me back to the room. They hooked me up to all the machines and the monitors and everything. They checked if I was dilated, and they said I was only 3 centimeters and my contractions were 10 minutes apart at the time. And so the nurse was just like, well, you're not in you're not in full labor, like full actual labor. I don't know what you would call it. But she was like, you're not in full labor, so we won't be able to admit you. She's like, and we might just send you home because you're only 3 centimeters. And I was like, I'm having contractions and they hurt. Like, what am I supposed to do if you send me home? And she was like, just take hot bath, da da da. I was like, no, they are constant. This baby is coming. Like, I'm not leaving. And so she was like, well, we're gonna monitor you for another 2 hours and see if you dilate anymore and if your contractions get any closer together. So I'm like, okay. So I'm there in the room by myself, going through these contractions, and I just feel like they're getting, like, bigger and closer together. And at one point they were just so painful, like I could not tolerate it. The nurses would come in and check me if I was dilating, and that was uncomfortable. And every time they would come in to check me, they'd be like, you might not be able to stay, you might just get sent home. And I just, like, at that point I was just ignoring them because I was trying to concentrate on the pain and trying to get through it, and just thinking in my head, like, I can't believe that I'm here by myself. Like, still thinking about it till this day, it makes me sad, because for 4 hours I was in that room by myself having just all these contractions, and they were putting, you know, IVs in and giving me all these medications, and, like, it's just, it wasn't what I expected my first labor and delivery experience to be. So just the entire time, like, I was texting Mike and letting him know what was going on. It was just really hard to be in there by myself, not having, you know, any support. Like, I mean, Mike was there, but he wasn't obviously able to be in the room with me. And so just doing all that alone for those 4 hours, like, it was hard. I mean, my mom was texting me and calling me, and, you know, I was texting with Mike, and I think, like, the last hour before, you know, everything started happening, I did call Mike, and as soon as he answered the phone, like, I immediately just started crying, like, uncontrollably crying. I was just like, I can't do it. Being back here by myself, like, it's just a lot. And I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't know what to do. I don't know, I guess just like I said, for being my first time having a baby, like I had to deal with all that by myself. So I tried my best. And then Mike was upset too, because the entire 4 hours that I was in that room, nobody went out to let him know like what was going on, how I was doing. So he was pretty upset, and I ended up telling the nurse if she can go out there and just talk to him and let him know like what's going on and stuff like that. So she did. And then the last hour before they decided to move me, I had gotten up to go to the bathroom, and when I got up, there was a lot of blood on the bed. So I went to the restroom, and when I came back, the nurse came in, and I told her, I was like, I got up from the bed and there's a lot of blood. And so she was like, okay, well, let me check you. So she checked me, and then she told me that I was 5 centimeters dilated and that they were going to go ahead and move me to a labor and delivery room. So then she went to go and tell Mike that they were going to go ahead and move me so that he can go ahead and grab like all of our stuff from the car and just be ready, and then she'll go back and get him and take him to the room. So once I found out I was getting moved to another room, I was so happy, because I just felt like I was in that little room for forever, and I literally thought I was never gonna leave. So I ended up getting moved to a labor and delivery room, and I think not even 20 minutes later, the I guess it's anesthesiologist came and did the epidural right away. And that was pretty nice for the first few hours. It did wear off. I got moved to the room maybe about 7 o'clock, and they did the epidural, and you know, like hours passed by. They came, kept checking me if I was dilated. I would dilate like 2 centimeters, maybe 1 centimeter, an hour here, 2 hours there. And so I ended up having to get a second dose of epidural, because at that point, when it wore off, like I had full control over my legs, whereas at first, like I couldn't even lift my legs on my own. So they gave me another dose of the epidural, and then around, I want to say 2:45, they went ahead and checked me again, and I was 10 centimeters already. Everything went by so fast. I was probably in labor for about 12 hours. And then she went ahead and called everybody in to get me ready. And I was like, dang, this is it. Like, I'm about to have this baby. Like, it's just so crazy. Like, I didn't even know what to think. Like, I was just ready to get her out. And, you know, I was happy that Mike was there. So what actually ended up happening was my water never broke. So they had to come in and break my water for me. And after they broke my water, I immediately started feeling contractions again, which I didn't know that that's how it worked. I didn't know after your water breaks that you start feeling your contractions again. So they broke my water, and then me and Mike were there for like about 20 minutes while they got everything set up and they were getting all the nurses and everything. And the contractions were so bad. Like, I was crying, and I was like, I just want to get her out. I just want to get her out. And Mike was sitting there by the monitor, like, just telling me, like, get ready, you're gonna have another one. And I think those are the most painful ones that I've had. I'm surprised I lasted as long as I did, to be honest. Because now I wonder, like, would I have been able to do it without an epidural? I wonder about that now. But at the moment, I couldn't. Like, I wouldn't have been able to, just thinking about it. So then the doctor comes in, and she, you know, has me do like some practice pushes. And I had told Mike, I was like, look, I am going to push the hell out of this kid, because I want her to come out. Like, I just want her to be here. And at that time, it was already about to be 3 o'clock. And so I did my practice pushes, and she was like, oh, you're a really good pusher. And I was like, thank you. And so My legs go up on the thing. And what? You see yourself? Do you see yourself, my love? That's you. So then they put my legs up and then we're ready to go. And I'm like pushing this baby out. And I mean, the entire time I am wearing a mask. We're all wearing masks, obviously. So that made things a little bit more difficult when it came to like breathing and stuff like that. Because the doctor would be like, okay, take a deep breath and then push. And then after I would push, he'd be like, okay, now take another one and push. Like I didn't get any break. I wasn't like, okay, push. Okay, now wait. Okay, now take a deep breath. Now push. No, it was like back to back to back pushing. And I was kind of struggling, and it was really hard to even do it with the freaking mask on. Like, I was like, oh my God, this is so frustrating. Like, I just want to take this thing off. And so I think I did maybe about like 4 pushes, and then she came out. And it was so like, I don't even know. Like, just seeing her for the first time, it's like, it was a lot. It was emotional. I was just happy that she was here and she was healthy, and I don't know how to explain it. Like, I don't know how to explain the feeling or the emotion that I felt at that moment when she came out and they put her on top of me. I'm just happy that, you know, I would have loved to have my mom there and, you know, other family members there with us, but I'm also kind of happy that me and Mike just got to enjoy this moment together, alone by ourselves. It was definitely a first time experience for the both of us, because I mean, obviously neither of us had kids. But it was definitely an experience. I don't know, but when she came out, she just looked so cute. Like, she looked big. She was so swollen. You would have thought she was like an 8-pound baby. She ended up weighing 6 pounds and 12 ounces, and she was 21 inches long. And now she weighs 6 pounds, 10 ounces, and she's 20 inches long. So she lost an inch. But it was just, I've never experienced something like that before. And after I had her and, you know, everything was, you know, back to normal, I guess, I was like, oh my God, like, I love that I just had this baby and I pushed her out and I, you know, brought her into this world. But honestly, like, I don't know if I ever want to do that again. Like, I just don't know. I don't know if I ever want to go through the labor again. Like, it was definitely a lot, and especially with the way things went, considering the way things are right now. Like, that's probably more the reason why I don't want to go through it again, because my first labor experience, like, you wouldn't expect, like, not having somebody there with you. So then after we had her, we ended up staying in the labor and delivery room for like a few hours before they finally transferred us to a postpartum room. And we ended up staying in the hospital for 2 days. She ended up having a little bit of jaundice, so they put her under a light for 12 hours. So that's the reason why we had to stay an extra day. But the following day, they tested her again, and they said that that she was good, that her levels came back normal, so that we were able to go home earlier than expected. Which we didn't end up leaving the hospital until like maybe about 6 o'clock. But I was done. I was like, I want to go home. I want to go be in my own bed. I want to be in my own space. Like, I'm done being in this hospital. I didn't get very much sleep, obviously, because nurses are always in and out. But we did have really good nurses. Everybody, except for one. Everybody was super helpful and, you know, giving some good advice and, you know, stuff like that. So we had a really good experience, nurse-wise. But I think just at the end of it, me and Mike were just like, I want to get out of here. Like, we were so done being in that hospital. I did end up having to get stitches, you know, down there, because the doctor said that my last push, that I pushed so hard that I tore. I don't know if that's too much information, but it's the honest truth. So I did end up getting stitches, which I'm still healing from. I still have to do all like my, you know, feminine care and all this stuff, and use like bidet and all these little bottles and just medicines and stuff like that. So I'm still healing from that. It's definitely gotten so much better since like a week ago, because last week it was like I couldn't even get out of bed. I couldn't get up by myself. Like, it was so painful. Getting out of the car was painful. Getting up on the bed, it hurt. So I had to be really careful, which I still have to be really careful. But yeah, it was a lot. Look at her. She's so cute. Do you see yourself, baby? So yeah, that is pretty much my labor and delivery story during COVID. I'm just happy that she's here now and we get to enjoy being at home with her. Mike is back at work. So I stay home with the baby. He goes to work at 3 to 9, 3 to 10 maybe, and then I'm home with her all day. Well, from 3 to 10 I'm home with her, and we just hang out together and we enjoy time together. And she's starting to get a little fussy because I think it's time for milk. Is it time for milk? So yeah, we hang out here at home. We watch TV together. I put on some little like sensory videos for her. We change dirty diapers. We take a bath. She hates to take a bath, but I still take her one anyways, and she cries so much. I feel so bad. What else? What else do you do? You go on your swing? You go on your bouncer? Oh, okay. So yeah, I'm still adjusting to motherhood, which, I mean, I'm not like oblivious, and I'm not like not that I have no clue, because as a lot of you may know, or if you don't know, I worked in daycare for about 4 years. So I'm not like, you know, completely like, I don't know what to do. It's just newborn wise, it's something I have to learn a little bit of, because in daycare there's never really no newborns. So just dealing with the newborn is, you know, still a learning process. It's not hard. I'm trying to get her on a schedule right now. I know she's only 2 weeks old, but I feel like I should start her early, especially because the other night she was up all night long and I slept for 2 hours and I was so tired the next day. But that's because she slept all day the day before. So I'm like, okay, well, we can't do that anymore, because then she's gonna be up all night. So last night I ended up trying to keep her awake. She didn't sleep as much as she did that other day ago, but I ended up taking her a bath before bed and rubbing her down with some bedtime lotion, and I used like the whole bedtime, bath time stuff, and then gave her some milk, and then I got her ready for bed around 11 o'clock. And she actually didn't wake up until, she did wake up 2 hours later for milk, and then she woke up again at 5, and then she didn't wake up again until 9, which is when I usually wake up. So I thought that was, she did a pretty good job last night, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and do that again today, because I felt like it really worked for her. So that's what we're gonna do. So I wrote her little schedule on the little dry erase board on the fridge, and that's gonna be her schedule, so that way she can have a good night's sleep and me and her father can have a good night's sleep. But other than that, that is pretty much it for this video. I will be making more videos. I'm definitely gonna make a video talking about breastfeeding. because she is being breastfed, but I'm having a difficult time right now with that, so I want to talk about it, and you know, give my advice or my experience for other people to see. But for now, that is it. Let me know what other videos you guys want to see. Let me know if you want to see daily videos or like daily little vlogs of what we do. Even though we're pretty much here at home, but I could show you guys like what we do and how I do things and how our day goes and stuff like that. That is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.